Guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. This is going to be a good one. We're going to go ahead and react to all the information that was just dumped on us by the official Raid Shadow Legends YouTube channel. I'll have a link if you guys want to watch this without my commentary as well in the description below. But I have to be real with you guys. We're gonna watch. I'm going to pause and react as we watch, and I've already seen this. I watched it right as it dropped, and I have to say, I am pretty freaking excited about especially the PvP, but we'll get to that in just a moment here, guys. Let's start with the new hard mode dungeons, and again, we're just going to go ahead and watch things here. I might fast forward a little bit through the boring parts, and yeah, let's speculate here, guys. Here we go.
First up, let's start with the new PVE content. We're supercharging some of our familiar dungeon bosses, making for a really tough endgame challenge. Introducing
So you can see behind me, you can swap from normal to hard mode, and it unlocks 10 new stages.
hard mode dungeons. When we say hard mode, we mean hard mode. These aren't just minor buffs and tweaks. We've really changed up the mechanics and abilities of these bosses, adding devilish new twists to old classics.
So I'm going to go through, I'm going to fast forward, and I'm just going to show you the new look of the bosses.
Rather than more fire, this malevolent fiend has doubled down on horrific poisons. His Mephitic Fire skill will apply twice as many poison debuffs as its normal counterpart, Wall of Fire, and it beefs up Tainted Hellraiser with a 50% increase attack buff for good measure. Also, his secret skill, Toxic Incineration, will activate all poison debuffs on
Poison activation against us now. That's not good.
your champions at once. This caustic explosion can deal major damage, so be sure to bring someone who can cleanse these poisons from your team. Now, let's take a look at Tainted Clysis and see what new tricks he's hiding up his frozen sleeves. Debilitating Frost will remove all debuffs from Tainted Clysis and decrease your team's turn meter by 30%. Also, he's now utterly immune to poisons. Makes sense, seeing as he's literally made from ice. So, how do you defeat something made of ice? You melt it. HP Burn is your friend here. It deals 10% more damage to Tainted Clysis and destroys the max HP of his minions, making it easier to put them back into the ground whenever they get dragged back into the fight. Needless to say, some teams that used to shine in this dungeon will be getting the cold shoulder from Tainted Clysis instead. Be prepared to change your teams accordingly. Next up.
So far, as you're seeing, quite a few differences in both these bosses. We get an instant activation and poisons from the Tainted Dragon, and then we have the HP burn now is going to be your best method for the Ice Golem. He's no longer going to be susceptible to poisons.
The Ice Golem's hot-tempered counterpart, Tainted Fyro,
Check this
the
out.
Fire Knight. If you thought his
Look how many turns on the shield.
shield was nasty before, just wait until you see it now. It goes from needing 12 hits to break in stage 25 of normal mode to needing 21 hits in stage 10 of hard mode. And that's not even your biggest worry. Attacking Tainted Fyro's shield will destroy your champion's max HP by 1%. Need more HP destruction? His Corrupting Blaze skill also destroys your team's HP by 15% of the damage dealt. Meaning, whatever he does, your HP is taking a hit. You'll need to find a way to counter this, or else Tainted Fyro will be carving through your champions like a hot knife through butter. Oh, and he's immune to turn meter reduction too.
What? So what? Stop right there. Immune to turn meter reduction. That means that no more is Allure going to be the queen of Fire Knight. No longer is Coldheart going to be the queen of Fire Knight. Completely immune to turn meter.
Sorry, all you Coldheart and Allure fans. However, all hope is
Fire Knight is almost like a new boss.
not lost. Turns out Tainted Fyro just needs to chill out. Okay, using freeze may not literally freeze him, but it will cause him to lose 15% of his turn meter per freeze.
Interesting. So now he loses turn meter only through freeze debuffs, which I have to say is pretty cool because it gives some freeze champions some love, because freeze right now, obviously no use against bosses.
Debuff. Cool. Let's move on to our next star, Tainted Scavag, and her endless brood of spiderlings. The changes to her dungeon should send shivers down your spine.
Immune, you can see it on the screen. Sorry, guys. Immune to turn meter reduction and HP burn. What?
Fine. First, Tainted Scavag is immune to turn meter reduction and HP burn. We're not kidding. In fact, if you've got HP burn on her spiderlings, each AP burn activation will now partially heal her. So you'll definitely want to avoid that. Also, her spiderlings are immune to freeze, so that old trick won't save you either. However, where one door closes, another one opens. each time a Spiderling dies, Scavag loses a chunk of her HP. So, upping your area of effect game and blasting her entire clutch to Kingdom Come is now a viable strategy. Another saving grace is that hard mode Spiderlings aren't any tougher than they are on stage 25 of normal mode. So if you can splat them there, you can splat them here. Overall, hard mode dungeons live up to their name.
First of all, Spider, are you kidding me? Spider especially, and I guess all the dungeons, but Spider and Fire Knight, man, those are some massive, massive changes. So now you have to kill the Spiderlings, and HP burn turn meter is not going to work. It's going to heal the spider instead, and the Spiderlings are immune to freeze. Wow.
And taking them on is well worth the effort. Along with yielding greater rewards and more event or clan v clan tournament points, hard mode dungeons will also drop mythical artifacts and accessories. Until now, you could only get mythical artifacts from Hydra battles, but it wasn't exactly an easy location to farm. Once hard mode dungeons go live, you'll get to choose which sets to hunt for and have more ways to earn mythical artifacts and accessories. And trust me, you'll want these mythical goodies to prepare for the challenges we've got cooking this year. Speaking of challenges, we all know that the best thing in life is...
So, summing things up here for the dungeon bosses, I think it's pretty cool. I think that they could have easily just made them more difficult and added 5 or 10 more stages to each of these dungeons. But I like the fact that they added new mechanics, give other champions that kind of suck or kind of just don't have maybe they don't suck, but they just don't have a niche. Like there's a few random champions that restore HP, right? And there's not that big of a use, obviously, for them out of Sand Devil, but even Sand Devil strategy hasn't really evolved into where that's like a necessity on a lot of teams. So now we're going to see that. We're going to see freeze champions. Multi-hitters are going to be a necessity now with 21 hits on Fire Knight. So there's a lot of new stuff. Obviously, I'm just talking about Fire Knight right now, but really even Spider, AoE nukers now. It's going to be like AoE. It's going to be cool. So I like that they did that to all of the bosses. They changed the dynamics. The downside, of course, is the teams that we use to farm to stage 25, a lot of them aren't not going to be reliable anymore. They're not going to be, valid. So of course we can still farm the old levels, no issues there. But if you want to get your hands on mythical artifacts, you will have to make some decisions on other champions you might have to level up. So that's obviously the downside. But then again, you expect that with any new content. Let's go to PvP because as I said in the beginning, that to me, Live Arena looks really cool.
Live Arena is coming to Raid. We're super excited about it and can't wait to see how Raid's PvP scene will evolve after the feature goes live. We won't go into too much detail today, so consider this an appetizer before a full feature preview video later this year. Live Arena will be available to all players who are level 50 and above. You can queue up for battles several times a day on a set schedule, a necessary measure to avoid long wait times in a PvE-focused game like Raid. Once you've queued up, you'll be added.
At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about that, only 4 battles a day in the Live Arena, but upon thinking about it a little bit more, I think it does make sense. Because A, if everybody could battle all day, would there be enough battles always available for everybody depending on the level of your account? A. And B, would it just give us that sense of like, okay, I can never keep up with people who just grind this game 24/7. Forget it, I'm done, So I think putting a limitation is for the right number. Should it be like 10? I don't know, but I actually do like that there's limitations after I kind of thought about it a little bit.
To the matchmaking pool, and you'll get matched up against an opponent as soon as possible.
So this is going to be massive, right? Is the matchup going to be fair? How is it going to weigh the strength of your account? Is it going to be your overall account power? Is there going to be ways to kind of play the system? And that's my number one concern here, guys, is what if you just... We used to call it back in Clash of Clans days, rushing your base, rushing your account, right? What if you go and you get what if a whale pulls 2,000 shards and then just chooses the 5 or 10 best champions, maxes them out, and they have a very low player power on their account overall, but they're matched with players who are way lower because of that, right? So that would be a concern I have. How is the matching going to work here? I imagine they'll be putting a lot of thought into this. I just wanted to flag that.
After pairing up with an opponent, the Battle of Wits begins with picking champions. During this phase, both players will pick their champions one by one, building a team of 5. Each player will then get to ban
I love the draft mode, the schoolyard pick'em draft mode, right? That is so cool.
a single enemy champion from the fight and choose their team leader.
So then, after you pick your 5, you get to choose your team leader and ban one champion from the enemy's team. That's so cool too. I love that.
No doubt some of you more devious players will come up with plenty of mind games for this. Oh, and one thing to mention, you won't be able to use duplicate champions in the higher live arena tiers. Once the teams have been drafted, the battle begins. It won't be all that different
So you get 20 seconds per turn.
as far as core mechanics are concerned, except you're fighting a real human. So be prepared for nasty surprises that the AI could never come up with. All phases in battle will have an overall time limit and a limit on player turns. Should the overall time limit run out, both players will receive a defeated result. You're fighting the clock as much as you're fighting your opponents here, so don't try and stall out for the win. On top of the sheer awesomeness of fighting other players in
The arenas look really cool.
real time, there'll be dedicated live arena quests, new artifacts, a new addition to the Great Hall where you can spend your hard-earned live arena crests, and other rewards to look forward to.
Okay, so this is... Oh boy, let's try to make sense of this. Arena area bonuses. So now it's going to be area bonuses. So Spider's Den. I want to see if they have... Oh, they have Hydra battles too. So you can see them all over here. So you're actually using the new live arena tokens to level up your, your HP crit damage resistance. They have Ignore Defense as well as a category here. That's interesting. That's really, I wish they would add that. And the affinity bonus. Okay, so affinity bonuses and arena bonuses too.
But we'll talk about all that later. Those are the two main features we'll be working on in the near future, but we also have some significant quality of life updates coming too.
Improved multi-battle settings, improved artifact management, and new artifacts and accessories sorting options.
First of all, we're going to make separate multi-battle settings for various game
And improved fragment summons.
modes and even for some individual dungeons. This should make it even easier to customize your farming teams and ensure they don't run into any trouble during their artifact hunts. We're also expanding your artifact selling options in multi-battle mode. Right now, you can only choose what rank of artifacts you want to get rid of, but we're changing it so you can pick which artifacts you want to keep based on the rank, rarity, type, set,
Oh, hell yeah.
specific substats, or any combination of these factors. It won't be
Dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. It can weed out all the crappy artifacts, and you can catch some like 4 or 5-star legendaries depending on where you are in your account. That makes sense. And you can make, obviously, with the accessories, you can go after what you need for each faction.
difficult to set up, and it'll make your farming a lot smoother. We're also adding a new sorting option for artifacts and accessories that'll allow
Let me move over here.
you to sort your gear by stats. For players with many artifacts, it should help you keep on top of things.
Sort gear by stats. Dude, these quality, forget everything else. The quality of life is where it's at.
Finally, we're going to sort out the chaos that is the Fragment Summons tab. Champions that are currently unavailable by any means will be hidden from the list, unless you've got at least one of their fragments. It's a small enough change, but it'll make navigating fragment summons much easier. And finally, it wouldn't be a What's Next video without showing off some awesome new champions in the pipeline. Many of these fabulous barbarians, fashionable Ogrins, and their friends are all but ready to jump into the summoning pool and join the fight for Teleria. A few are still in the early stages of development, and we need to iron out some new mechanics. They'll be worth the wait, and we think you guys will love them. And that's it for this episode.
All right, guys, I'll link the video for you, but what do you think, man? At the risk of being positive in a Raid Shadow Legends video, I'm excited, man. I can see people getting, having mixed emotions on the dungeons, right? Especially if you're still struggling to clear, the regular 25 stages. And I can also see mixed emotions I can see reservations on how Live Arena will actually play out in terms of matchmaking, stuff like that. But from what I saw in this video, judging on that alone, I have to be real with you guys. I'm excited. This update looks really, really awesome. I think we'll be getting the dungeons, obviously, before everything else, but even the quality of life looks really, really solid. I was not expecting this today, guys. Let me know what you think of everything in the comments below. Thanks, and as always, take care, guys.